Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Sun Up on 7. It's time for a sporty conversation. We're talking about a collaboration between different ministries and the Sprite, basically, to have the Sprite basketball tournament with youths in Belize City. So let's get to find out what this collaboration is about, who is behind this collaboration, and of course, what the whole activity is about. Let me introduce our guest. We have Mr. Douglas Hyde, organizer, along with Mr. William Dawson, and also Philip Smith, who's also playing in the team, right? Good morning, gentlemen. Let's
Morning.
do a quick
Morning.
check-in. How are you doing, Mr. Hyde?
I'm great. Let me say thanks for having us here too.
Thank you, too, for coming and sharing what's happening behind this tournament.
Definitely.
Philip, how are you feeling today?
Kind of sleepy,
Kind of sleepy?
It's early, no? You have to sun up, though.
You have to sun up for sure.
Yeah.
Mr. Dawson, how are you feeling?
Thanks for having me again. It's always a pleasure coming on Sun Up. Sun Up, the Sun Up is here.
I see with a bright color.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Sun Up.
You sun up properly. Right, so we're excited to hear about how this collaboration started. So, Mr. Hyde, can you enlighten us in that?
2015, let me start with that. Commissioner Williams, when he took over Eastern Division as the officer commanding this jurisdiction, came up with the strategy of community policing, working in different communities. And one of the method was to have weekend activities, and we call it Family Day or Community Day.
Okay.
That was the brainchild of him, and also the first activity that we met with different communities every weekend. We go community to community. And in that process, the guys who started to come out in these activities suggested to him that we want to do sports.
Okay.
Keep in mind at that time, there were a lot of shooting and a lot of crime and violence was happening at that time. So these guys didn't come out easily. So they started to come out, and Commissioner tasked myself, and at that time was ASP Elwer Kakmo, who was the person in charge of community police in Yarborough, Eastern Division. And we were tasked to put together something, and we did. We put together the basketball tournament for 8 of these different teams in Belize City. Commissioner then reached out to Bowen and Bowen, Mr. Michael Bowen, from in terms of Sprite. He also communicated with BTL, Sports Council, City Council, and we sat down together to develop this. The tournament was to have these guys compete in their different neighborhoods. So whether it comes from George Street or Lake Eye or Genosha Boulevard, we would go to your basketball court and compete for a whole day or half day, something to that extent. In 2015, that went really well. We saw the excitement of the guys, and we saw how the guys came out. It was challenging, I won't tell no lie, but it was also the first step. And then we did it. 2016, we had 10 teams. 2017, we went to 12 teams. 2018, same amount. And 2019 was actually the boom, because we had teams who were ready again, more matured, and we saw a lot of changes in some of their behaviors, and likewise in terms of the work that we were doing. COVID came. 2020 and 2021, we can do nothing.
No tournament.
So we're back. And what has happened earlier this year is that Mr. Dawson through the LIU, along with the different ministers, and I have to recognize that Minister of Home Affairs, Honorable Karim Musa, Honorable Radwell Ferguson, and Honorable Dolores Garcia all got together, and also Minister Usher got together and discussed what strategies or what different activities we can do with the guys from the different neighborhoods. I understand that this was one of the activities suggested, and immediately Commissioner Williams communicated with me, because I work in his office, and said, Douglas, sit with Mr. Dawson and let's plan this and let's do this as a multi-sectoral approach.
Right.
Immediately, we spoke together and we met and discussed this whole thing. But immediately, I was so excited, I started to talk to the guys from the different neighborhoods to find their feedback and their what they think about it on a whole. Well, they were double excited. They want this thing happen a long time.
Of course.
You know, and I can tell you from the feedback, we have a total of 18 teams who have registered, but we are starting with 15 this coming Saturday. For the first time, we have the involvement of the villages. So we have Hattieville, Ladyville, and Mahogany Heights involved in this tournament. We kick off 10 o'clock. Saturday morning behind Complex building, the Complex basketball court. We start with the opening ceremony at 10, and at 11, 6 games will be played. Every weekend, every Saturday, from this weekend until October, we want to have games. No less than 6 teams 6 games are going to play. So at 12 teams every weekend, which means over 100 guys would be together competing for this big trophy, first, second, and third places, and other respect they will receive in terms of this tournament.
Wow.
That's
That's major. That's really
Up
big.
to October, I'm thinking like, man, that's a lot of basketball.
Basketball.
That's a lot of
Yes.
basketball. Mr. Dawson, can you tell me, because I know when I was working with DYS, there was a certain structure of how, of how we used to do the basketball games. Is it going to be the same thing? I know you mentioned that, it's going to be in the morning, there's an opening ceremony. So throughout every time, will there be anything taught to the boys or just strictly basketball? Like, what is that overall structure that the young men can look forward to?
Okay, you're right. So what we're looking at is beefing up the life skills component. So besides the talent and skills of the guys playing their basketball, we also want to instill some life skills and building capacity on and off the court. And so we want to thank Dr. Lerna McKay, who is heading that educational component along with the Community Rehabilitation Department, okay, and in collaboration with Director Kill from Department of Youth Services. And we're working very closely with Inspector Cup from the Community Policing Unit. And so on and off the court, we're trying to instill discipline in the guys, The LIU is focusing on a change behavior component, a social development component, and also the intervention mediation component that we can't let go. It has to be continuous. And we do believe that sporting is a great part of intervention since the guys, post-pandemic, many of them have been off the court. So they're very excited, Mr. Hyde can tell you. They'd want the games to begin today. That's the level of excitement.
Yeah, a couple more days, guys. Couple more days.
Yes. So we're all excited, to keep on just pushing forward and trying to change the narrative, whenever there's a shooting or something, people are not shooting, but we can't look at that. There's many good things happening, and we want to make sure that we keep on pushing the positive things and the engagement with these guys.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm thinking the simple fact of participating in a sport really enhances a lot of skills, a lot of things that are important, how you go about navigating your environment, get better as an individual. But I'm seeing lately that there's a lot of people that are benefiting from opportunities of being an athlete.
Right.
You can get scholarships, you can go to school, you can
Exactly.
do different things. So
Right.
it's incredible to see the work that has come up through this collaboration. Philip, I want to ask you, how long have you been participating in this tournament?
From the beginning.
From the beginning,
from
2015. Man, so you're one of the babies.
He grew up in this.
Wow, so how have you seen it grow and show? And what are you looking forward to now? Because you had a 2 years break, right? And not at the time. So what are you looking forward to this time around?
Basically,
Follow mine.
we took home the trophy.
Oh, your team took
year.
home the trophy.
So basically, and they invited me, right? And it was the same thing. So I came again, hoping to take back the trophy again.
Okay,
love
so
it.
you guys are
We are the
anticipating.
defending champions, so we want to defend
There's
it,
a lot
right?
of pressure.
We want to feel the pressure. We want to embrace that, go back to back. And it's an exciting thing, right? And now it's bigger out district, like they said. More competition, right? Exposing to more people, showing more people there's more than just what the news put out sometimes about the street guys, right? There's still a little hope in many of us.
Definitely. And talent.
Sports-wise. Yep, talent, definitely.
Exactly. Philip, I'm reflecting on the conversation here, and this is a community building activity, right? In your sense of participating from the beginning, what has transformed for you in your life, and how has it changed in your community?
Well, my life, I was already on a little part doing my little thing, but this just gave me exposure that many kids needs, right? And my business, I got chance to meet new people, expose my business, got business literally, not just expose it, but got cash, made
All
cash
right.
off
There you
it,
go.
right? Embrace other guys that you never thought you would have talked to, that you thought it would have hard to talk to, but yeah, eventually it's easy, it's nothing hard, and many things were killed, many vengeance, many people got over stuff, then you can tell that throughout the time, many guys changed their persona, of how they felt about going in that different area. Like, yeah, I can go in that area now, then it's not as bad as it seems, right? Or people say, right? It's a big change.
I really love that. For you, starting from 2015 to now and seeing, you're telling us, we hear it from you. Because the one thing can make you guys come on and
Right,
tell us one
right.
thing, but when you have a young person that
Right.
has been there, that
Yes,
has seen
indeed.
the change, that has got the financial benefits and just overall changed his mind and seen also
And
for
it's-
other people,
Yeah.
I think that shows the impact of what this can be. And then up to October, so there's,
Yes.
I don't know how much game that now, 15 teams. That's a lot of basketball.
20 weeks,
20 weeks.
20 weekend.
Wow. And like you said, like about 6 games every single.
every weekend.
Wow.
Yeah.
We not get tired.
Been to sports is sports, man. Tired.
You're ready.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tired the part of the game. If you don't get tired, you can't win. That's why I
Okay
take it.
then.
Right?
Like, I tell you, they come for this trophy. Actually, they try keep this trophy for themselves.
Right.
But
Next year I might be right up here on the show again. When 6 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
and just on the idea of sports, because to be very honest, on this show we've had several people come on and talk about different tournaments, whether it be basketball, football, volleyball, all sorts of things that are happening in the country. Can we, and I guess I could open it to either one of you, why do you feel sports is so important to kind of gear people on a different path? You actually said that, you were on a certain path and the sports kind of took you in a different direction. Why do you think it's so important that we include sports in the conversation for young people to know that their exposure and there are other things out there? Because people sometimes just say, oh, they just play basketball, oh, they just football, or they will go back to the same ways. And the negativity that comes with people thinking that sports are just a quick fix, but not understanding the importance. Can you speak on that for me?
I can probably start off, and I guess Philip can also attest to it. As a young black male growing in Belize City, sports was one of my outlets. I had the opportunity to play on my high school team likewise, and I went to Gwen-Lizaraga, and we were one of the few to actually came in second. Males were not so good as the females, but then Gwen-Liz females were the dominant female team. I don't know if you may ever win back then.
First of all, we gonna cut there now. No conflict. We gonna go to
But
anyways.
we female team was dominant.
know, Mr.
And our male team wasn't, but we got that chance. And I remember using that as my outlet, playing basketball, playing volleyball. But I also got a chance to play senior level, which we call amateur level here. And one year I played semi-pro. And again, I played on a Christian team. Back then was Christian Ambassadors. And I get that experience and that exposure, something that Philip mentioned just now that you can't explain. I mean, when you have raw talent as what we have in Belize, this is an opportunity that you get to share that, you get to experience that. And there you come and you find a next person who have almost the same talent like you, and you want to outdo him, or you want to try your best to compete. That's how you build up yourself, and then that exposure and that experience helps you. In that, I also had persons who really wanted to see the best of me. They didn't want me to be a next statistic. They didn't want me to just be a next guy just hanging out or a youth hanging out doing nothing. They wanted me to do something. And I took that opportunity likewise to say thanks to those persons who, like my mom and other persons who really stepped out and went above. And now I'm doing the same. Sport is one of what we are using as a strategy to reach back to these guys. Some of them can't do nothing else, but they have raw talent. And sport is one of the angles that they can express themselves, to share how they are feeling. You see how he asked earlier, how you are feeling. Maybe I can't talk, but if I get on basketball court, you know how I'd feel, because that's how I could express myself. And that's how some of these guys can do it. People may not understand it, but that's a dynamic, that's a strategy that research have shown. Sports have reached out to some of the toughest of people in terms of expressing how they're feeling and what they're going through. And you could never know that may be the breakthrough for me and Philip down the road to have a conversation. He never had no conversation with me before, but because this tournament have happened, some of these guys who were never want talk in person are now talking, are now expressing what's going on and reaching out to different organizations and different people who they didn't do that before. So this is what sports have been doing for some of these guys.
Yeah, definitely. I can see how it brings out your leadership quality. It takes you out of
Your
your comfort
communication
zone.
too as well. Okay, you have to
your
tell the body if you pass the ball.
communication,
Definitely.
building.
Yeah.
All of those things can come out, like following instructions, following all
Exactly.
of those things,
Right.
discipline.
Sportsmanship as well. That
Yeah.
idea,
Yeah.
if somebody drop on the ground, you will help out bar because
Definitely.
you work with that person, not your teammate now that become your family member.
Even the
Because
opponent.
it is. Sorry?
Even the opponent you will help up.
See?
It's just sports, right? It makes you think of everything else besides your struggles then. A little freedom, break away, right? And the kids need to be exposed to it. And because like the kids will look at TV, right? Watch the NBA playoff is on right now, looking at those guys and say, I wish I was that guy. I wish I had that glory, right? Sports is a way. And sports is not only basketball that we're doing, it's just the main culture in the country. There's many different,
Definitely.
right? And if you want to find your passion, watch a boxing match and then you might see yourself swinging like, yeah, I wish I could be a boxer, right? It happens, right?
That is
Just
true.
little
It's
exposure.
Thanks
Just a little
for that
exposure.
reflection.
That's
Thank
all.
I truly
Yeah.
appreciate
So
that.
as we wrap up this conversation, Mr. Dawson, do you have any closing words for our viewers?
Yes, well, like we said, this is a great initiative for us. We do recognize, like Mr. Hyde said, that there's a lot of raw talent, especially in what is referred to as the South Side community of Belize. And so we want to set a platform where the children can be open to say, you know what, I would love to be a part of the Sprite Live Life Cup one day. And so that these guys are an inspiration to the youth. And so leadership is one of the main focuses of why we're engaging on this level so that we can let them identify the importance of communicating with the children within their communities and use sporting as an outlet. Like Philip said, it's not only necessarily basketball we're focusing on and the conventional football. We're looking at boxing, karate, and other cycling as meaningful options that young people can have access to and look at it as a way to propel themselves forward, you know. And sometimes, like Mr. Hyde said, there's scholarships and opportunities involved in sports, and we want to make that clear that it's not all hopeless for the youths on the south side and across the country of Belize. There are great opportunities, and we want to make sure that we sustain these efforts as we go along.
Right, so it's not just a thing of right now to October.
No,
There's things
yes.
that happen after.
Right.
This is it's a continuum of behavior change as we've
Exactly.
been having this conversation in
Right.
the previous episode. So once more, thank you for the collaboration, for
Thank
the
you too.
initiative. And we look forward to the competitions from now to October, and let's see who the
We're
winner
gonna
is.
see what happened,
Yes.
So that's think fast. All right.
think
So
fast.
with that, we go to our other commercial break. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you,
Good luck,
thank
you.
Philip. Your
Yes.
team. We don't have to take home this, I did root for no,
You know what?
Right.
You know what Philip team's name?
No way name.
The Unruly Boys.
Okay then. Let's see on really on a beef with you for win this thing. We're gonna have 20 weeks.
Yep,
Show
definitely.
out, show up, right?
Yeah,
And so
and all the best to
all
the
the
other
best to
teams
you
as
guys.
well.
I
Yeah.
can't wait to see it happen, man. Continue the great work and all the best as always.
Thank
And
you
so
too.
with that, guys, we go
you,
to our
thank
next
you.
commercial break. We'll be right back. So catch you.